On the northeast coast of the Scottish Highlands lies Brora, a small village home to only around 1,000 people. It was once an industrial village, housing industries such as a coal pit and a woolen mill, which provided steady income and relative wealth to the community. Now, in 2018, the only thing left of the village's many industries is the Clynelish Whisky Distillery and the remnants of the old Brora Distillery. The demise of the industries has left Brora a despondent village, where businesses struggle to thrive and many villagers move away for work. Drinks company Diageo owns both distilleries and this year announced that they are relaunching the Brora Distillery and resuming production of the lucrative Brora whisky. It is believed that the relaunching of the distillery could lift Brora out of its despondent state and raise it to something resembling its former glory. This is not just the story of a distillery, but of a community, and how the distillery shaped its past and how it could shape its future.
The best whisky came from Brora.
Oh, the Brora Distillery.
It was,
Yeah.
Oh,
it was one of the finest blending whiskies in the world.
Most amazing. I mean, the old warehouse that had the Brora whisky in, you plodded in there, and it was this depth in mould on the ground,
That's
and
right.
the mould on the walls was
right.
like this.
That's right.
Mould
You would
and
smell it a mile away.
Built in 1819 by the Marquis of Stafford, who became the first Duke of Sutherland, whose statue is on Benbraggie, just above Golspie. He built it so that he could use all the grain that the local farmers were producing at that time, so that he could use it to distill his whisky and prevent the farmers actually using their own barley to produce their own illicit whisky.
It was horse and cart at a Wordy's horse and cart at the station when I was a young boy, and everything came by train, and then it was distributed to all the shops and even to the beer and the whisky and everything to the hotels. And, well, it was we had the brickworks and we had the coal pit and we had well, there was a lemonade factory, but it was before my time. That was down at the harbour, down at the top of the harbour. But that's way back in the 1900s. And the radio station, can't forget that. I mean, that took people into the village. I was serving my time with the Andrew Sutherland as a bricklayer stonemason when I went into the distillery. And after 3.5 years, I was making £6 1 shilling a week with a shilling tax. And my first wage in the distillery for a 54-hour week was £26.
How much would that be nowadays, would you say?
That's a fortune.
Over the past number of years, we've seen the demise of the major industries which had supported Brora very well in the past. The coal mine, the railway, the mill, and the distillery really was the last traditional industry within the village.
So all these industries were a big draw for people to come to Brora and work. It was because it was steady industrial employment. Sadly, we've only got the distillery left just now.
And when they closed Brora, it was horrifying because at that stage Brora was the oldest licensed distillery still operating. And they closed it purely and simply because it was a little more costly to produce than Clynelish.
Yes.
Clynelish was big and more modern. But poor Brora was old, but produced the most beautiful whisky.
Whisky bottle, it says Fine Old Scotch Whisky, George Sinclair, Station Hotel, Brora. This was purchased in the Station Hotel, and it was found by Richard Sutherland when he was doing some renovation work in a house in Lower Brora. It's a tremendous object to have. It was found behind the lath and plaster, or under a floorboard, I think. But the contractors of the day used to drink whisky on the job, obviously, but they left this as a souvenir under the floorboards or behind the panelling. And this piece of brown paper in the top here has the names of the contractors who were doing the work in the house, and who also obviously swigged the whisky. And it reads Alex Sutherland, George Sutherland, Alex MacLeod, John Ross and Walter Sutherland.
I remember my first experience when I went up to the distillery there, that the boys says to me, put your head in there and have a sniff with it.
Oh.
I thought, I don't know what it was you.
Oh,
Yeah.
enough to kill you.
And so he says, put your head in there. Well, it's like somebody hit me with a sledgehammer
Oh, yes.
in the neck.
Yes, shoot you backwards.
Just that.
Oh, yes.
It could kill somebody.
Oh, yes.
No boys.
Yes.
I was up there for a visit myself with the deputation. I was with the Brora Rangers committee, and the manager says, was there any ever work or been through a distillery before? And of course I just never opened my mouth because I didn't want to spoil. So the first thing I did that to somebody up in there. When we went back to the office, the manager says, I sized you up right away. Excuse me, Mr. He says, I seen you doing that. I said, my
yes.
God, that's funny, isn't it?
In the night.
I couldn't refuse the temptation. Gordon Macbeth, I say, here, stick your head in there, man.
People would arrive at work in the morning and get their traditional dram first thing in the morning, then at lunchtime, and then in the evening. And that was the problem.
But they were getting that when I went up there, first of all.
Oh.
They were getting them.
Most local people were 2 sheets to the wind all the time, and that was the thing. It was some of the wives' families were getting very, very worried about it, so they put a stop to it all. But
What a shame.
Before moving to Brora and working for the distillery as an exciseman, Jeff was a customs officer at Heathrow Airport, an extremely dangerous job back in the 70s.
if I'd stayed another 10 years down there, it wouldn't have been 10 years, I'd have died. I lost 6 colleagues before they retired, and one was certainly going to be me. So I moved up here, not only because I loved the place, marvellous, but I wasn't going to live for 10 years. They reckoned I'd have possibly 4 or 5, but not 10. I came up here and did my 10 years and retired 30 years ago.
I know. That's remarkable.
That's what Brora has done for me.
Diageo's plans are now in full swing, and the last remaining industry is set to return to the village in 2020.
When I heard about the plans, it was truly magical, I think is the word I would say. You know, Brora has been in the doldrums for many, many years. The distillery has been a feature of the village for a very long time. And to hear their plans was absolutely fantastic. You know, I truly believed it was a catalyst which would help shape Brora's future.
That's a marvellous thing for a little village. The amount of money has been spent on things like that, it's tremendous. It was just a shame it was ever closed down.
Do you think the whisky will ever be the same again? You know, like up in Brora?
It'll never be the
Never.
same.
No.
It'll still be very good, but it'll never be the same, because the best whisky comes from the oldest equipment, the grottiest
Yes,
warehouses, the
I have that
grottiest places.
Everything's
Awful.
too
The
clean.
worse it is, the better the whisky.
That's right.
Always.
It was a happy-go-lucky place. I can't say there was many bad words in it. I was telling you straight now, they were a great bunch of lads.
It wouldn't do for anybody to not be getting on with other people at all. It just wouldn't work.
There was no...
You had to trust everybody.
There was
and,
no fighting, there was no,
No,
arguing.
no.
There was plenty of arguments, but I mean, it was just...
Oh yes, yes,
Pity.
yes. But oh no. Happy days.
Happy days.
Yeah.
Great time.